I am totally excited. Everybody I know is excited. My biggest issue is the border, and he's killing it. Well, absolutely, everybody that's here illegally should go. I'm not one of these that, oh, the poor person. No, they need to go. They came in illegally.
They came in illegally, folks. They need to go. This was on MSNBC. See, it's so funny when they sit down with these people. Good day, folks. Welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you and excited to bring some really good news to you. So I think a lot of people are still hearing different things from the mainstream media. They're getting a little dispirited, folks. They are completely lying to you. Bald-faced lies. We're going to get into that today. We're also going to talk about, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Amazon is now going to post the price increase due to the tariff next to their products in a move against Trump, because all Amazon sells is Chinese crap. Okay. So we've got that going on. We also have, I got a Tom Homan clip that is straight fire. And, Canada had an election yesterday. Look, here's the thing. Canada, I love my fellow Canadians. I love the patriots up there in Canada. I love the people. The greatest freedom movement I saw was that Canadian truckers convoy. But your government is so bad up there. And I'm telling you, Pierre Poilievre was not the answer. He was not the answer. He was actually just terrible. He was liberal light. He was not good. And I'm going to just show you guys something here before I get into the main news. Just look at this. Add to stage right there. There it is. Canada per capita economic growth laggard for 10 years. Now you can see that the U.S. is at the top of this, but look at where Canada's at. U.S. is at 20.7. Canada's at 0.5. They have completely abolished freedom in Canada. If you didn't see what went on with the truckers convoy and the jab and how they treated their own citizens up in Canada, it was absolutely appalling. So I'm sorry you got to go through it, but somehow you got to get your country back. All right, enough of that. Now, folks, you guys have been hearing this. I'm telling you, you're all hearing this. Trump's approval rating is negative double digits right now. Let me just ask this question. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard this. How many of you have heard about all the polling out there right now that Trump's approval rating is double digit negative? I mean, come on, I need to know. How many of you have heard this? Just yes or no. How many of you heard it's there? It's being widely reported. Double digit negatives on President Trump's approvals. People are upset about him, with him about tariffs. They're upset with him about the border. I mean, my gosh, they sent illegal aliens to CCOT, and that's just the end of the world. Okay. Yeah. See, most of you have heard this. Okay. So I'm going to give you some good news this morning, because they're outright lying. And I have found the greatest piece to share with you, and I'm going to bring it in right now. So this was out of Real Clear Politics, and it's commentary by Larry Kudlow. The liberal press is at it again. They're doing everything they can to phony up their polls in order to show that President Trump's first 100 days are a failure. Well, it's not true. These are fake polls. And when I get to these numbers, it's just going to blow your mind. But really quickly, folks, need to mention my sponsor, and that's Birch Gold. You guys know I'm a big believer in silver, gold, both of them. Owning it physically, that's the way I want to own it. So you can get your free info kit on gold by texting the word lumberjack to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. Again, that's lumberjack to 989898. Gold is still over $3,300 an ounce. Silver is still over $33 an ounce. It has outperformed every other asset class that I own. It's outperformed the markets dramatically. You can look at buying and just owning physical gold for times of hardship. You can also look at converting some of your IRA dollars into gold. You can look at doing a number of different things, but the first step is getting that info kit. So text lumberjack to 989898. All right, back to these numbers. This is going to be awesome. I spoke to ace pollster John McLaughlin over the weekend, and he told me that in the latest New York Times poll, only 37% of respondents are Trump 2024 voters, but Mr. Trump received 50% of the vote. So what happened to the other 13%? Folks, it's a fake poll. So don't get dispirited here. Same for the ABC Washington Post Ipsos poll. Now, folks, this is another thing. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. And wait till you hear what Jeff Bezos has been up to. Okay. They polled 2,464 adults, 1,992 registered voters, but only 842 Trump voters. That's only 30% made up of Trump's 2024 voters, yet he got nearly 50% of the popular vote. What happened to the other 16%? Folks, that's why these polls are fake. Mr. Trump himself wrote a True Social post about this. Give credit to John McLaughlin for pulling the rug out from under the liberal press and their usual anti-Trump political shenanigans. They are continuing to lie to us, but they have been caught. These numbers prove it. Okay? You all see this, right? I mean, we're looking at, well, Trump's down by 12, but we pulled 16% of the Trump voters out. Well, so what's Trump really? Is he down at all, or is he up by 4? Okay, so even if some Trump voters had misgivings about it, and I'm sure, folks, just the reality is you and I are happy, okay? But there are some people who voted for him, and now they're worried about their cheap crap from China becoming more expensive. That's real. It's real. There's people who just kind of ride the wave. You know, Trump kind of became a popular icon again in the culture. He was showing up everywhere, NASCAR, the Super Bowl, wherever, and getting big cheers. So, of course, people get behind that. And then they're like, oh, no, my cheap crap from China is going to cost me another 20%. It's just so pathetic. I just can't. So, and just so you understand, just because a tariff on something is 100%, that's the tariff on the actual good that's imported, not the markup that they're charging here in the U.S. So, look, a lot of the reality is this slave labor over in China is producing stuff so cheaply. So they might be paying $2 for a product that they're selling for $30. So now they're paying $4 for it. Okay? That's actually a cost that could be absorbed by the company, or they could just increase the price $2. But that's not what we're seeing take place. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But just so you understand, that's real. There are people. Oh, look at this. I took a poll. Somebody had a comment here. Something. Where was it? Where did that comment go? No, I missed it. Okay. Back to this. Give credit. Okay. Meanwhile, another of my favorite pollsters is Democrat Mark Pence. So here's a legitimate Democrat pollster. So his Harvard-Harris poll shows that President Trump's personal job approval is still around 48%, just off the February peak. It also shows that 39% of voters say the country is on the right track. Folks, that's an increase of 11% since January. Mr. Trump has completely closed the border with his immigration policy, which is enormously popular. President Biden failed at it totally for 4 years. And in fact, I'm going to bring in a quick clip from Tom Holman right now to talk about that. And this is, did I get the right Holman clip in here? I think I did. Let's watch this.
As far as releasing so many people, you know why the Biden administration released millions of people in the United States? No one ever talks about it. I'll talk about it. Why did they release people into the interior of the United States and put them, rather than put them into an ice bed? Why not put them in an empty ice bed at $127 a night rather than in a hotel room at $500 a night? They did it on purpose.
Wow, folks, imagine that. Just the costs alone, $127 versus $500 a night. And so he's asking, why did they do that? Why did they take all your money to do that? Listen to the answer. This is phenomenal. Please smash that like if you would. I forgot to ask that at the beginning, and chat in with where you're from so I can see who's on the stream.
Because when you put them in ice detention bed, they get a hearing in 35 days. Court records show 9 out of 10 people claim asylum, get order removal, they're gone. But if you release them and put them in a hotel room at $500 a night, their hearings could be 5, 7, 9 years if you pull out all appeals. And what are they hoping for then? That another Democrat administration is in power. They can award an amnesty to millions. This is about selling this country off for future political power. That's what it was. The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over. That's what the law says, and that's what we've done.
I love Tom Homan. I love Tom Homan. Actually, it was funny. I was watching a veteran biker stream a little bit this morning, and he had a poll, and who do you like better, Tom Homan or Stephen Miller? And Tom Homan was winning by like a 2/3, 1/3. I don't know about that, man. I'm telling you, Stephen Miller is freaking phenomenal. Okay. It's amazing. I love watching Stephen Miller. But this is what they were doing. It was a wholesale destruction of this country. So they're putting them in hotel rooms so they're not guaranteed that hearing. You know, then they can use delay appeals processes, which is what they're trying to do now, right? In spite of that, Trump has still managed to deport 140,000 illegals. Most of them, or many of them, I should say, criminals. They're all criminals, but you know what I mean, the hardened criminal types. Great things happen there in Florida and also in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And do you know what the greatest thing out of the Colorado Springs, Colorado, and maybe I can find that video and bring it in as I let another video play. But if you look at the back of the jackets on the Colorado raid, I'm sure some of you saw that video. It was DEA because there were drugs involved and it was at this nightclub. But you should have seen all the other law enforcement agencies. The best one was U.S. Postal Inspection Police. So Trump is reallocating federal law enforcement resources, just like he said he would, ATF agents, whomever, and getting them involved in the deportation roundup. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay. Yes, somebody said pick up the pace, Tom. No kidding, David. We all want him to pick up the pace, but we're starting to see a greater pace starting right now. Okay. All right. I've got to get another clip in here, and this one. Okay. No, I'm going to do this one first. Just remember fake polls. I'm going to bring in another clip, but first I want to bring this one in. I want to talk briefly about this Amazon situation. And I think Carolyn Levitt handled it really well, as did Scott Bessent. So for those who don't know, Amazon's basically putting on the price of the product. And this is very obvious what this is. It is a total attack on Trump to try and tell everybody that they're paying so much more for these products due to Trump's tariffs. Again, we don't have free and fair trade. You need to start there. Until we have fair trade, let's not talk about this. I mean, China's taxing our goods. They're charging tariffs on the goods that come into China. We're not charging those equivalent tariffs. Trump is looking at reciprocal tariffs. Okay. So very simple. Okay. And by the way, if you missed the stream last night, you need to go watch it. And there's a few action steps you need to do. Please take the time to go watch last night's stream on the election case in Georgia. It's a big deal. But let me just put this in.
We'll soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone.
By the way, folks, I don't know if you noticed there, Caitlyn Collins in the lower left. Did you see her nodding her head? Because she's all in on tanking the Trump administration. You guys know that, and you can watch her. I'm gonna pull this back actually just a few seconds just to show you this. Where would this be? It'd be about right here. I wish this.
And not China, who is going to have to pay for these policies.
I will.
Okay, I didn't go quite far enough.
Product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Is Jeff Bezos still a Trump supporter?
Look, I will not speak to the president's.
That's the stupidest question. Jeff Bezos has never been a Trump supporter. Just because he gave $1 million to the inauguration, that's a drop in the bucket for Jeff Bezos. That's like you giving a penny, okay? $1 million to the does not make Jeff Bezos a Trump supporter. Trump held Jeff Bezos up there and even had him at the inauguration, putting him up as a trophy. Somebody who had come to kiss the ring because he was trying to stop Trump's policies, not because he was a Trump supporter. You all get that, right? Yes or no in the chat. Jeff Bezos wasn't a Trump supporter. It's the most ridiculous statement I've heard. Dumbest question I've heard asked this thing. I got a super chat to bring this in quick, then we'll go to Scott Bessent. We have... I've been hoping for that app in the Springs, we're importer biker exchange area. It's bad on I-25, and this has been known problem here for 10 plus years. About time. All right, back to this quick. Oh, shoot.
Relationships with Jeff Bezos, but I will tell you that this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. And Secretary, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would also add that the bringing down the terrible Biden inflation has been a priority for the first 100 days of the Trump administration, and President Trump has done a great job of leading that since January 20th. Interest rates, mortgage rates are down, gasoline and energy prices are down. We're expecting the further decreases. And as Caroline said, the big tax on consumers that goes unnoticed is deregulation.
This is huge, folks. Deregulation is the biggest thing. And right now, and I've noticed it at the pump, I mean, it's not costing me as much to fill my tank. And I'm sure some of that's regional. But the fact of the matter is that gas prices are down for me. Egg prices have come down. That was a blunder, basically, of killing chickens under the Biden regime. What they kill 100 million chickens? You can't take 100 million chickens out of the market and not expect that to have an increase in price, especially when we're on high protein diets here in the U.S. Many people, due to needs for weight loss management and stuff. So again, this is all policy driven, and that's why some of these policies are so important.
Regulation, and we are deregulating and bringing that down. So, from a household income point of view, we would expect real purchasing increases. We've seen them over the first 100 days, and we would expect that to accelerate. We are doing peace deals, trade deals, tax deals, and deregulating. And the deregulation is a longer lead time, but I think by the third and fourth quarters, that's really going to kick in.
So the great thing too about deregulation, it's things like Keystone Pipeline, it's things like mining operations. They have so much money to spend on these environmental impact statements and environmental impact studies and whatnot. Even when I did a development of some land, it was wild. I had to have an archaeological study done. No joke. There was no Indian bones on this place, but I had to pay $5,000 to have somebody from Wisconsin come over to Minnesota to sift through dirt to see if there were any bones or arrowhead fragments or something. Biggest waste of money in the development. It increases the cost of everything, all these regulations, folks. Then we had to do an environmental assessment worksheet. We had to do wetland delineation. On and on and on it goes, and the costs just keep mounting, and all that gets added into the final product. We had to add that into the price of the lots that we sold. So y'all get that, right? I mean, this government regulation crap has got to be pulled back in, man. It's nuts. It's nuts. So back to this, back to the lying polls, though. And then I've got a great clip that's going to, I think, kind of encapsulate this. But Mr. Trump has completely closed. Okay, the southern border is so empty, a father could play baseball catch with his daughter in complete safety right now. That is so vastly different, folks. When I went down to South Texas and Beeville to go hog hunting, they had illegals running across their land right then, abandoning vehicles, torching vehicles. It was nuts, okay? And here's another key point. According to Mr. Penn, again, a Democrat pollster, 74% favor the deportation of alien criminals. Again, 74%, folks. It's tough to get these 80-20 issues on anything. Meanwhile, according to Mr. Penn, 77% support a federal government spending audit. Are you kidding me? I thought Doge was the enemy of the people. And 81% think the United States should be moving toward a balanced budget. But this is exactly what Mr. Trump is doing on the border, deportation, and Doge. Promises made, promises kept. Meanwhile, 65% favor Mr. Trump's policy of banning males from female sports. So what is up with the other 35%? I mean, are you serious? 35% aren't in favor of this. 35% want men beating women in sports. I mean, is this like a bitter men's struggle or what? I don't understand it. This is mind numbing. Okay. Mr. Penn is a former Clinton pollster. He's an honest craftsman, and so is my pal, Mr. McLaughlin, a veteran Republican pollster. The New York Times and Washington Post are not. That's why I always tell you folks, a lot of people say, oh, all the polls are fake. No, just a lot of the polls are fake. There are real polls done. I mean, by people like Rasmussen, by people like McLaughlin, and so on. But you have to know, you have to be able to discern what the real polls are. And if they're from the ABC Washington, Fox News doesn't have good polls either, folks. Okay? It's just a reality. These are all immensely popular policies. It now looks like the Trump tax cuts, including tax-free tips, tax-free overtime pay, and various senior benefits, those are all highly popular measures, could be done in a month's time by Memorial Day. Mr. Trump and his team are also working hard to achieve peace in Ukraine and in the Middle East, hard as that may be. Okay? And while his reciprocal tariff policy is perhaps the most controversial item, according to Harvard Harris, roughly 2/3 agree that tariffs are important to protect jobs in our country today, and really just under 50% approve of the tariff policy overall. So again, 2/3 of Americans understand that tariffs are important to protecting our country today. The problem is they're just having trouble with the short-term pain. And that's why Trump posted that statement. He said, don't be a panicant. Don't be a panicant. Just let the process work itself through, folks. We're going to get through this. We're going to come out on the other side better. But see, the media, they are obsessed with lying. Okay, so this is Chris Cillizza. He was a CNN guy. I don't even know if he's still there anymore. But I want you to listen to this, talking about Biden's cognitive decline. Listen to this. Just mind-blowing.
I think what happened here is a couple things. So, number one, people say to me all the time, of course it was a cover-up by the media. Just look at Joe Biden. Of course he was out of it. And to that I would say, there is and there should be a much higher bar for a media outlet or a reporter to say that Joe Biden is clearly mentally slower or incapacitated.
Okay. Whoa, stop there. These people are so disingenuous, because what did they tell us about Trump? Folks, come on, just tell me in the chat. I mean, when we started talking about Biden's obvious cognitive decline, what did they say about Trump? They started to show clips of him and try to imply cognitive decline, which were normal Freudian slips. So you're just not Freudian slips. What's the word I'm looking for here? Normal, like you might be saying just in a speech pattern, I might be trying to say Manhattan and instead I say Maryland. But it's obvious that it was like I knew what I was trying to, the point I was trying to get across. This is making sense. I'm trying to remember how I'm saying this, but they tried to tell us that Trump was in cognitive decline when he obviously wasn't. Trump's very sharp. Okay. The other thing they did is they literally called Trump a Nazi. If he held up his hand, he was doing Heil Hitler. And what's the bar for that, Chris? This is such a wild clip to me.
Than it is for someone to just say, he has dementia, he has Parkinson's. You can say that. But for the media to report that, it's a very high bar. And I don't think that bar was met. So yes, when I watched Joe Biden, the eye test made me think, as I watched him, man, he has really slowed down. And I'm not sure he should run for a second term. It did not make me think, man, he definitely, something is really wrong with him, and I'm going to cover it up so that he can win. No, absolutely.
No, see, here's the thing. Because why? Because they like Joe Biden. They couldn't see past that. This is why, people. I got to make a big key point here. This is why, okay, if I disagree with a Trump policy, I can say it. And so can you. When you have blind fealty or loyalty to a party, to a person other than Jesus Christ, you're missing the boat, folks. I'll give Trump a lot of benefit of the doubt, but I firmly, and I came out against it then, I'd come out against it now. Those two COVID bills, those stimmy bills, I was against them. I will forever be against them. Okay? It's just it. I don't like paying off student loans. I didn't like giving out money to people. I wanted people to be back to work. Okay? So if you can't, and this is something I've noticed too, people get caught in a mind cult. Whether it's on the left, I mean, it can happen though here, because I mean, if I say anything like that, I guarantee you I've just lost a couple subscribers. Because if I say I disagree with Donald Trump on those spending bills, people are like, you can't disagree with Donald Trump, and they'll unsubscribe. I really don't care. Okay. I mean, I see it. Just like yesterday when I went and I said that these SNAP benefits shouldn't be used for soda. I did. I told you guys I'd lose subscribers, and I did. I knew I would. I really don't care. We're at a point where people are so addicted to big government, even on the right. It blows my mind. See, a good conservative is conservative with everybody's money. Okay? When I used to work down in the Twin Cities and I was in a business-to-business sales profession, I turned in the leanest expense reports. Okay? I didn't go to eat at the steakhouses. I'd go to eat at a burrito joint, like a Chipotle or a whatever. Chipotle's gone woke now. Used to be one of my favorite places to eat, but it's just a good conservative is conservative with everybody's money. Okay? Somebody super chat me here. I want to bring this in. Yes, they did try to get the Trump in decline narrative going. Yeah, they did. They completely did this. And it's obvious Trump was not in decline. He was not in mental decline. So, it would be, for example, Elon on the H-1B visas. I don't have to agree with Elon Musk on everything just because he's part of the Trump administration. And but then I could look at Vivek's comment and I could say, I see some of the things that Vivek is talking about, but Vivek had an ulterior motive to that. So it's just like, I don't know. We have to be able to see things differently. We have to allow each other to see things differently. If we become the cancel culture of the left, we're no better than the left. Okay. So, it's very important that we keep our critical thinking cap on and we can discuss things together. Okay. Now the left cannot do this. They cannot disagree without being disagreeable. Some of their issues are just repugnant. Like really, we're sitting here like men should be competing against women in sports. That is stupid. What was the whole point of Title IX in the first place? If you're just going to allow men to compete in women's sports, makes no sense. Okay. So back to this little clip.
Absolutely not. But I will also add this. That does not. The fact that I do not believe there was any coordinated cover-up by the media of Joe Biden's condition, that does not get us media off the hook. And here's why. I made a video about this before. You can look at it. It's called My Apology for My Joe Biden Coverage. The media should have asked more questions about Joe Biden. I should have asked more questions about Joe Biden and his health. We should have dug harder. Because the eye test was what it was, and he looked old and frail, and when he was in public, he would sometimes lose his train of thought, we should have done more reporting. Now, people did. Alex Thompson at Axios did some. The Wall Street.
This is all BS. We're at the BS point. I'm removing him. I'm done with it. I can't listen to it anymore because, we should have done more. Why didn't they do more, folks? Answer that in the chat. I'm curious what you guys think. Why didn't they do more? I have my own answer. I'm going to wait till you guys get some answers here, and then I'm going to share with you mine because I know completely why they didn't do more. I know completely why they ran cover for Joe Biden. Okay? I mean, there is without, and this isn't just conjecture, folks. It is not conjecture. They all knew. Okay? People have, because they're bought, money, power, treason, all that. Here, I'll put it in here, folks. 3 simple letters. 3 simple letters, fine, folks. TDS. That's the deal. TDS, man. Trump derangement syndrome. It is so real. It's so appalling. It's absolutely insane. Okay? And they were all things not posting my comment. Can you believe it? Anyways, but it's all TDS. That's what's going on here. And that's why we're not getting any honest polls now. They're just, our media is pathetic, and we need a good media. I'm a commentator. I connected you with some investigative reporters. That's why that Georgia stream is so important that I did last night. Please go watch that. I'm probably not going to produce anything else because I just want that to sit out there, because it's not a covered media story, but it is vitally important, and it's an action step you can take. So that was my live stream last night. I did that with Heather Mullins. So please go watch that. Okay. We'll see you folks on the next episode. Please go check out my sponsors, Birch Gold. Again, text Lumberjack to 989-898 if you're interested in gold, silver. They are a reputable, trustworthy company. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. Then you can also check out MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack, or call 1-800-568-2865. $25 per Kale sheets are still there. They're running out of some of them, but there's many sizes and colors still available. And we'll see you on the next episode, folks. Peace out.